mule. He's built for the burden. You, Sarah, are built for the palace." Sarah's reply burned into my retinas. "I'm tired of being a mule's wife. I want the palace, Julian. I'm ready to leave it all behind, even the kids. They'll be fine with him. He's obsessed with them anyway." Before I followed her to the next event, I went into the garage. I sat on my workbench, surrounded by the tools of a man who builds things to last. I looked at the bike I'd repaired for Leo and the dollhouse I'd spent 6 weekends crafting for Mia, sanding every corner so they wouldn't get a splinter. I remembered Sarah's face when we first bought this house. She had cried with joy, clutching the keys as if they were made of solid gold. Somewhere between that day and tonight, the woman who loved us had been replaced by a woman who only loved more. I thought about our early years. We met at Ohio State. I was a logistics major with a plan. She was a communications major with a dream. We shared cheap pizza and talked about a future where we'd have a house with a wraparound porch and 3 kids. We got 2 out of 3. I worked double shifts so she could take unpaid internships. I stayed home with the baby so she could attend networking mixers. I was the silent partner in her success, the one who kept the engine running while she steered the car. I never realized she was planning on driving that car right over me. The Westin was a fortress of vanity. Valets in gold-trimmed vests whisked away Mercedes and Lexuses, while women in gowns that cost a year's tuition floated up the marble stairs. I entered through the loading dock, nodding to a guy named Mike I'd helped out with a late shipment of industrial refrigerators 3 months prior. "Working late, Vance?" he asked, barely looking up from his clipboard. "Always," I replied, my voice steady, though my heart was a drum in my chest. I made my way to the mezzanine, a narrow gallery used by photographers and light technicians. From there, the ballroom looked like a petri dish of social ambition. I scanned the crowd until I found the red hair I'd known since college. Sarah was standing next to Julian Vane. He was exactly what you'd expect: tan, silver-haired, and wearing a suit that fit him like a second skin. He had his hand on the small of her back. It wasn't a professional gesture. It was an owner's gesture. And Sarah? She was leaning into it, laughing at a joke that clearly wasn't meant for anyone else. I felt a wave of nausea, followed by a cold, sharp clarity. The party reached its peak around 9 p.m. The band moved into a slow, sultry jazz set. Julian signaled to Sarah, a subtle tilt of his head toward the terrace. They moved with a synchronized grace that suggested they'd done this many times before. I moved through the light booth hallway, navigating the narrow passages I knew so well. I reached the heavy velvet drapes that separated the indoor VIP lounge from the outdoor balcony.